So, the quantity curl of velocity, we have a special name for it in fluid mechanics, and that is called omega, and that is known as vorticity. So, if I know the velocity field V, I have written here a 2-dimensional field, but in general it could be a 3-dimensional field, then I could calculate the curl of velocity, and that is called vorticity. And what we are able to see is that this corresponds to, as you can see, omega is half of omega. So, in some sense what we are saying that rotation of a fluid element is half of vorticity. A flow where omega is 0 everywhere. So, this is the operating word, everywhere, is known as irrotational flow. Okay. So, let us review what we have done. We are looking at the kinematics of the flow. So, we started off with a fluid element, it got deformed because of a velocity field, and we have tried to estimate what is the average rotation rate of a fluid element. And we were able to say it is related to the curl of the velocity, which is known as the vorticity, and now we are saying that if it is 0 everywhere, vorticity is 0 everywhere, then we are going to call the flow as irrotational. So, I want to spend some time on what exactly does the rotation of a fluid element mean. Okay. So, suppose I had a streamline. So, let us say this is a streamline. And when I talk about an irrotational flow, what I am claiming is that the fluid element, as it goes along this streamline, so let me mark the axis. If it is an irrotational flow, then the element actually does not rotate, it simply maintains its orientation as it goes along. So, I am using this cross, the red line and the white line, to show you the orientation of the element. In fact, I can use this example as a fluid element. So, as this element goes through a streamline, it maintains its orientation, it does not rotate. On the other hand, if I had a rotational flow, and suppose I were to take a very similar kind of a streamline, and I try to see what happens to a fluid element here, which initially had a streamline across in the orientation like this. Maybe it kind of tilts something like this. See, it has rotated, and maybe after some time it actually does this. So, I have this, and maybe after some time it does the other way, it rotates even further, and then I get element like this. So, essentially what the fluid element is doing is, it was something like this, and then it completely rotated and it did this. So, a rotational flow actually means that the fluid is rotating about its own axis. Maybe I should give you another example of a flow with a circular streamline. So, let us say this is a circular streamline. If you recall from one of our earlier lectures, if the flow is steady, then the streamline could also be thought of as a path line or a streak line. So, I would have a fluid element that simply goes around this because it is also a path line. Is this flow a rotational flow or an irrotational flow? So, if I gave you a streamline, you might be tempted to say that because the streamline is a closed streamline, maybe the flow is rotational. Well, not quite. In fact, I could give you a situation where the flow is rotational, and I would give you another situation where the flow is irrotational. So, let me get you ready with the same problem. And here I would say this is an example of a rotational flow, and here I would do an example of an irrotational flow. As I said earlier, if the flow is irrotational, because this is the direction of streamline clockwise, so this is how the fluid element will move. Right? Let me draw a fluid element for you. So, I will draw it in these different orientations, and let me draw the vertical axis of this. And you can see that the element just maintains its orientation. So, even though the element is moving in closed streamlines, so it is almost like the earth going around the sun, okay, but that does not make it rotational. It is actually this quality which makes it rotational or irrotational. On the other hand, I wanted to give you an example of a rotational flow, where if I had a situation like this, maybe after a quarter of a rotation I would get something like this. So, if I started out like this, I am doing this, and then I do this, and then I do this, and I am back again to a full rotation. So, just to complete the diagram, so I have intentionally taken a square element, but this time just to distinguish, what I will do is I will put an arrow on this to show you the direction. And now it is very clear that if I had a rotational, so this is just an example, if I had a rotational element, then actually you can see it is rotating about its own axis and doing like this. Okay. I will show you later, as we will see in the course, that rotationality is a very important aspect in fluid mechanics. But what we have learned right now is that given a velocity field, what would a rotation of a fluid element mean? Well, I would estimate the curl of the velocity, and half of that would give me the angular velocity of the element, and if it is 0 everywhere, then I have an irrotational flow, and we can treat such flows a little bit special. Very nice. So, that finishes the first aspect of the flow that I wanted to discuss, is the rotationality. Now, I want to talk about the second aspect, which is actually the shear strain rate or the distortion rate of the element. The thing we want to talk about is the angular or the shear deformation rate. We come back to the figure, and what we notice is that the angle BAD it changes to angle B prime A prime D prime. So, from 90 degrees it changes to something like 90 degrees minus d theta 1 d theta 2. So, the angle has reduced. Okay. So, we are going to now say that if I have an edge AB, that has changed the angle of the element by some amount, the edge AD has changed it by a certain amount, and I could talk about the deformation as the average of the two. Okay. So, therefore, I would like to propose that the shear deformation rate, which I am going to denote by epsilon xy in 2 dimensions. This is going to be given as half of d theta 1 minus d theta 2, and we have already seen, in fact these are rates, so these are to be divided by dt, and we have already seen what these quantities are, d theta 1 and d theta 2. So, I could straight away write these down as half of, if you recall, this d theta 1 was because of the differential in the y velocity at the point B versus the point A, and that is simply given as del Vy by del x, and this quantity here was given as minus del V. So it becomes, so this was negative, so negative and negative make it positive, and this would be del Vx by del y. And of course, there is a time delta t which you can work out, so that will cancel out when I divide by this time delta t, of course in the limit going to 0. So, what we have been able to show is that the shear deformation rate, that means the rate at which this angle is narrowing, is on an average given by this quantity over here. I can similarly evaluate what could be my Exz and Eyz, and these would be given as half of del Vx by del z plus del Vz by del x, and this guy over here is going to be given as half of del Vy by del z plus del Vz by del y. Okay. So, I have talked about now rotations, 3 rotations and 3 shear rates. Okay. Those of you who are familiar with solid mechanics, you may be able to see that in solid mechanics we talk about just the shear deformation, but in fluid mechanics we talk about the rate. So, this is a difference that will continue throughout when you discuss the difference between solids and fluids. All right. So, the next thing that we want to do is now about extensional strain. So, extensional strain rate. So, what we are interested in is the edge AB has changed its length to A prime B prime. And as I recalled for you at the beginning of the lecture, that this element, this edge, gets stretched because the speed is not the same across this edge. Okay? So, A moves with this speed Vx, but the point B, it actually moves with this Vx. So, I should be able to find out what is the extensional stress, the strain, let us say in the x direction. So, this is rate of extension of edge AB versus its original okay. So, I should be able to work that out. It is only because of this quantity over here, del Vx by del x. So, this is del Vx by del x dx dt, and then I would have to divide it by dx, but then it is also a rate. So, there is another dt. So, these two cancel out and I get del Vx by del x. Okay. Similarly, I could talk about E y y and E z z. So, these are the extensional rates along the y direction and z direction, and these would turn out to be del V y by del y, and this one would be del V z by del z. Okay. So, if I put both these things in perspective, I am talking about the shear deformation, which is given by these three quantities over here, and I have the direct strain rates or the extensional strain rates, which are again these three quantities Exx, Eyy, Ezz. So, now I can propose, just like I talked about the stress, I can actually now talk about the E is the strain rate tensor, and this I could write as simply Exx, Exy, Exz, Eyx, Eyy, Eyz, Ezx, Ezy. This is known as the strain rate tensor. 9 components, but it is symmetric. In fact, that can be shown. For example, the shear deformation rate Exy, it would be exactly the same as Eyx, because we have actually calculated this as the average deformation of the element. So, because it is symmetric, so these two quantities are same, these two quantities are same, and as you know, this one is same as this. So, we are left with 6 quantities, which are 3 extensional strains, these are also called direct strains, and 3 shear strains. When I say strains, I actually mean strain rates. So, 3 are the direct strain rates and 3 are the shear strain rates. So, if I had to write down E in terms of the quantities here, so this would turn out to be del Vx by del x, that is for Exx, and Exy I could take it down from over here, which is half of del Vy by del x plus del Vx by del y, and then the xz would be given as half of del Vz by del x plus del Vx by del z, and here I would have del Vy by del y, del Vz by del z. I would have exactly the same quantity here, and I would have this quantity over here. So, I am not writing it again, and this guy here would look like half of del Vy by del z plus del Vz by del y, and the same would appear here. So, I have a 3 by 3 strain rate tensor where I have tried to give you all the components.